Okay, well, again, as I always say, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. Today is going to be a very short masterclass, and I want to focus on one key subject. Every time I've gone to different parts of the world and I speak to either new people who want to go into business who are already maybe in paid employment, or people just want to start a new business from scratch. Usually, there's one response that seems to be a universal response I get, from people in terms of the most dominant challenge that they face, and that is, I don't have the capital. And when they say I don't have the capital, they are actually talking about money. I don't have the money. Oh, I want to do so and so business, but I don't have the capital for it. Oh, I would have expanded my business, but I don't have the capital for it. Capital seems to be the boogeyman everybody blames for their challenge. Now, that got me thinking that what you mean you don't have the capital? And then, after thinking about it, I came up with the fact that there are actually 7 types of capital you need for business. And it's sad when I see people focus just on only one. Financial capital is just one of 7 capital you need to run a successful business. And many times people don't explore which other capital they have. They just completely rule themselves out simply because they don't have the funds or access to funds. So in this brief masterclass, I need you to take note. There are 7 capitals you need to be able to succeed in business. Number 1, intellectual capital. Intellectual capital. Write that down. Intellectual capital. That means you need to have a knowledge of something to succeed in business. You cannot succeed as an entrepreneur if you don't have an intellectual space that you function. By that, I don't mean mounting up degrees, university degrees. No. That's not what I mean by intellectual capital. Intellectual capital means knowledge. Knowledge of how to. That's intellectual capital. If you're a welder and you know how to do welding very well, you have intellectual capital. That's what I mean by intellectual capital. So don't let the word intellectual mislead you to think I'm saying you need to be an academic. No. But it means you need to have knowledge. You need to have intellectual knowledge of how that business is to be done. It's always very important. I tell people, even if you are going to employ other people to do a lot of your business for you, trust me, if you don't know how that business is run, you are going to be in difficulty. Let me give you a very good example. You need the name of a registered doctor as being the supervisory head before an hospital can be licensed, even though the owner doesn't have to be a doctor. That's the thing, because so I know hospitals that are not in Nigeria are not owned by that are owned by people who are not medical doctors, but there has to be a designated medical practitioner named as the medical that license is attached to. Now, the point I'm going to make with that example is this: assuming you're an accountant or whatever, or you're an engineer, and you feel like having a hospital, so you engage the service of a medical doctor. They register the hospital in their registration certificate is used to register your hospital because there has to be a medical person registered. Now, that doesn't mean you need to go and be a doctor yourself, even though you're an engineer or whatever. But you must have sufficient knowledge of how hospitals work. Otherwise, they're going to mess up your business for you. So that's what I mean by intellectual knowledge. The intellectual knowledge in that example I've just given is not you being a doctor. No, it's you knowing how hospital should operate. Study up, understand how it needs to be done. Fine, you are not a medical doctor, but you know enough to know when a wool is being pulled over your eyes or somebody's trying to do a fast one, on you. So I can give several examples, but the first capital you need is intellectual capital. You need the knowledge of the business you are going into. Number 2, you need emotional capital. Emotional capital. By emotional capital, I mean your ability to be emotionally strong. You see, you can't let your emotion loose if you want to succeed in business, because you have to endure lots of disappointments. You have to endure lots of people who will say no to you. You know, there are actors and actresses who will tell you that for the first 100 castings they went for, they didn't get the role. You know, and they were all disappointed, but they kept going for new castings. They kept going for new ones until they got the first role, and they are now big stars. So, which meant they did not allow disappointment to stop them. So you need, as somebody who's starting a new business, lots of people, we confront all kinds of disappointment. You know, and disappointment comes in all kinds of shapes and sizes when you are in business. There is the disappointment of people saying no to start with. That's as bad as you think that is. That's actually easy. But then, as often as I've seen by experience, there is the disappointment of you starting something and then the thing failing at the 99th minute. That is the most painful disappointment. You know, there's a business you want to do, you know, you've started it, you've done registration, you've done this, you've paid for this, you've done that. Just when you're about to get to the last stage of, consolidating finalizing the deal, everything falls apart. That is the most painful disappointment, because you've expended time, energy, and resources to get to that point where the failure, manifested. So, but for you to bounce back and move on, you need to be emotionally strong. So you need emotional capital. You have to be strong emotionally to succeed in business. Number 3, you need relational capital. Relational capital. By relational capital, I mean your ability to relate with people. You have to be a people person one way or the other to succeed in business, because nobody succeeds alone. You have to develop the capacity to speak with the doorman and speak with the managing director. You need to have the bandwidth to have discussions at all levels. The more you have, the better you will succeed, because you never know who will give you the hint or the tip you need in business. You need relational. I remember in the early days, in the 90s, when I started, out in business. I had a mentor then, who was the chairman of one of the biggest oil company in Nigeria. And I used to go to his house in the Apapa area of Lagos, for those who know the area. And he would teach me all kinds of things, about business and all that. And one of the things I remember learning from him is he said, never underestimate the power of a secretary or a PA. And he spent days teaching me. And I went with him to big men's offices, ministers' offices, government officials, and I saw how he put those things into practice. And I learned so much. I became a master at it. This man will go to say, maybe he wants to go and see the managing director of NNPC. You say, Charles, come along, let's go. When he gets there, he will see the PA, usually ladies, and then he will spend 5 minutes just chatting with the PA. How are you? How's your son? Oh, how's your daughter? He will kind of lavish attention on them, and then after about 5 minutes, he will say, oh, by the way, is your boss in? You can see how he made his primary assignment look like secondary. The PA feels important, valued by his approach. And he told me how that always works. The reason is because if you don't value the PA or the secretary, you may never see the boss. Because if she tells you he's busy, trust me, you will never see. He will be busy. Even though all he's doing is watching TV in his office. You don't know that. So the PA, they're the gatekeepers. So you have to learn to relate with people at every level. So you need to have relational capital. And by the time I started my own business, I remember, that I became so good at it that a lot of the tips, I remember a friend of mine, in those days, she had a finance company in Lagos, and I would just send her a letter or a phone call and say, oh, by the way, do you need some air conditioning? Because I have access to some 300 units of air conditioning. Oh, she was, oh, yes, actually, we just discussed that last week. By the time I did that 4 or 5 times, on the 6th time, he said, oh no, I said, Charles, how come you always know what I need? Just before I send it out for people to bid for it. You always call me and you always know what I need. I laughed. I said, "Oh no, I'm just intuitive." And she said, and she smiled. But what she didn't know is that our PA was my, I became very good friend with the PA, who will alert me to tips when she's at a meeting and they're discussing, oh, maybe we should buy some air conditioning or air conditioner economy unit, or we should buy some cars, we should do whatever, and she would tell me that this is what they discuss in case you need to, so being nice to people, being relational, is very, very important. It's very, very important. You get tips, you get tips, so you can't afford to just, ignore people, because you think they're maybe lower at the level in terms of management, or even the doorman, the security guard, they can give you information that can save your life if you're if you're nice to them. So you need to learn and know how to relate with people of diverse temperament. It doesn't matter where they are on the ladder of life. You need to develop that capability for your business to succeed, because everybody will have one tip or the other for you to succeed in business. That's number 3. Number 4, mental capital. Mental capital. You need mental capital to succeed in business. By that I mean you need ability to recollect. You need ability to recollect facts, figures. I don't mean you have this magnetic brain, no. But if you are the type that easily forget things, it will be going to be difficult for you to succeed in business, because it's not every time you are being given vital business information you will be able to write things down. You could be at a dinner, and you are standing, you have a glass on your hand, and you are chatting, and somebody's giving you a vital information that's necessary for your business. You can't say, oh, wait, let me go and find a pen and paper and write things down. It doesn't look professional. So as you're speaking, you have to learn to be committing those facts to memory, because you might need to recollect them the following day to be able to plan your business strategy. So you need mental capital. And then number 5, you need financial capital, of course, that you already know. So you need money, so you need financial capital. I'm not going to spend more time on that. And then number 6, you need social capital. By social capital, I mean goodwill. You need to have goodwill. If you enjoy goodwill of people around, a lot of things will be easier for you. Things people pay for, you get for free. Things, that people can't get, you will get if you have goodwill. And goodwill is a function of how good you've been to people. The kind of vibe you give out. So goodwill, another word for it maybe is favor. But goodwill is probably more of a word people will understand better. You need to have goodwill in your community. You need to have goodwill, in the area you are. And goodwill, I don't have time to explain that in detail. Goodwill could be a product of your family name, for example. If your father or your grandfather did some good for the community, if people know that it's the son of so and so, they will allow you to establish your business in that locality because of the goodwill your father enjoyed. Goodwill could be as a result of your own effort. If you are philanthropic, for example, you enjoy goodwill. If you volunteer to help people, to support people in their hour of need, you enjoy goodwill. Goodwill also can be a product of your reputation. So generally, the point I'm making is goodwill can help your business succeed. That's social capital. And finally, the 7th capital you need spiritual capital. You need spiritual capital. Now, why that is important is the fact that you need faith. You need faith. You need, because things will hit you during, your business life, that will almost cause you to be depressed. And the only thing that will get you out of such hole is your faith. So you need faith to be able to stand for something, to be able to understand that whatever disappointment you face is not going to be the end of you. So those are the 7 business capital that is needed: intellectual, emotional, relational, mental, financial, social, and spiritual capital. So as you can see here, if you have 6 of those capital and you don't have money, trust me, money will find you. So you can see the foolishness of focusing purely on money as your, has been your obstacle to starting business. If you have good people in your life and you have goodwill of good people, money will find its way to you. So if you want to, what's the lesson? What's the take home here? If you want to start a business and you don't have the money, try and develop all these other 6 capitals. Because if you do, money will find its way to you. That's more or less the lesson for today. If you don't have the money to start or to advance or to expand your business, don't let that discourage you. Develop this other capital, because this other capital doesn't require money, just require your behavior. More or less. Within these days of internet and Google, you can find out any information for free on your phone. So a lot of this other capital can be developed, even though you might not have lots of money. So don't let not having money stop you. Develop yourself in all these other 6 areas, and the financial capital will manifest itself. So I hope that helps somebody here to know that you are never to give up because you don't have money. Money will find its way to you if you are good in all these other 6 areas, because I'm rooting for you. I know you will succeed. You just need to put in the effort. You're unstoppable. If you focus on this other 6 capital, money will find its way to you one way or the other. Okay, so if you have any question based on this video and any of the videos, in any of our classes, please just send your a question as email to me at info@charlesomole.org, info@charlesomole.org, and subscribe to our YouTube channel if you have not done so. As I drop the videos, you get an alert immediately if you're a subscriber. We'll catch you at the next video. Take care of yourself.